So recently, Nintendo made a very interesting announcement that had piqued my curiosity. And no, I'm not talking about Alarmo, which is an overpriced alarm clock that looks to be cheaply made and have some Nintendo crap attached to it. But you wonder why Nintendo does things like that. It's because they have you by the balls. Okay, this thing is already selling out in certain regions. It's sold out at Nintendo New York store. Like this is why they get away with making these crappy products that don't really this costs more than the cool live circuit Mario Kart thing that they came out with, and that was actually a video game. But I digress. Spend your money however you want to spend your money, but I definitely recommend buying the Art of N64 Wrestling Games book instead of Alarmo. Link in the description box down below. But that wasn't the real interesting announcement for me. Of course, the open online playtest for a brand new Nintendo Switch feature when it comes to the online portion of things was definitely higher on my interest list, because I mean, it's one thing that I've been saying, that Nintendo Switch Online, especially the expansion pack portion, does need some upgrades and updates and new features added into it. And Nintendo was, of course, holding an open trial for this to where people could be able to check out what this is actually going to be. We have some additional information on it. And of course, I made a video on this like 2 days ago. But there's one thing in this additional information that actually has me changing my mind a little bit about what this could potentially be. So the first thing is, of course, signups happened yesterday. They went live at 11 o'clock Eastern time, and it didn't last hours. It didn't last an hour. It didn't last minutes. It didn't last a minute. It lasted about 5 seconds. That is literally how long you had to sign up for this thing. Was about 5 seconds, and then they closed it because they had over 10,000 people entered into the thing. And to me, that's kind of weird. And I did not get into it. You know, I didn't think it would be, you know, that big of a popularity thing. But the problem that I have with that is that you kind of limit the type of person who's going to be involved in this playtest. And whatever this playtest really consists of, I mean, I think you need different types of people. Like, you're not going to have a little kid involved in this because a little kid is at school and they're not able to sign up for this thing. Little Johnny's at school trying to learn maybe how to be a president or how to own a gas station or something like that. But maybe he wants to check out what's going on with the new Nintendo Switch update. Now, normally, I don't like little Johnny. You know, I want to pummel him in online video games and make him learn that life is not fair. And, you know, you're going to lose sometimes. You know, it's kill or be killed. It's a battlefield out there. But I do feel like you kind of limit it just to like diehard Nintendo people who don't have a normal job or something like that. Like, who's online at 11 a.m. Eastern signing up for this? I don't know. I feel like you kind of limit the amount of people that you're going to have involved in this. We also learned that there is an NDA attached to this. If you are accepted into the program and you are a part of the program, you are not allowed to talk about this online. And once again, that's kind of a weird thing because not all of these people are going to be like content creators or something. These could just be, you know, an average person, you know, maybe like a Discord mod who's like a Discord mod full time, and they just sit on the computer all day and they manage to sign up for this. Like, how are you going to trace it to them as being the one who talked about this? You know, all it takes is for one person out of 10,000 to go online and say, hey, this is what it was about. And you're not going to be able to trace it to their Nintendo account or anything like that. So what's the point of the NDA? Like, the secrecy around it is what makes everything with this so interesting. That's what people are kind of hedging their bets on, is like, well, what is this? Why is this so secret? If this was a beta test for a, you know, an online Switch game, we've seen that time and time again where they just kind of announce it and you go in different time blocks and something like that. You see, all of that is sort of hyping up what this could actually be. And that was something that we talked about in my other video about what this could actually be. And one of the things I brought up was a streaming client service, because you've seen it for various regions in, you know, in like Japan and stuff like that. They, of course, did a couple of Nintendo Switch games that were only available via streaming, games like Resident Evil Village and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And those are, of course, third-party games. So maybe Nintendo was wanting to get involved in this as well. Some people thought maybe it was streaming, you know, legacy content like GameCube and Wii stuff. Maybe, you know, I mean that's a decent idea. I don't think Nintendo's quite ready to do that yet. But we did learn something from this, and that's how much space you need to have on your Nintendo Switch in order to download this program. And it's 2.2 gigabytes. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 2.2 gigs isn't really that much. But when you look at how Nintendo does things, 2.2 gigs is quite a lot. You know, that to me is not a streaming client. If you've ever downloaded, you know, if you tried to download Resident Evil Village on your Switch and you downloaded the client, these are very small little things that just rely on internet connection. You know, I can't think of an online client that does streaming stuff that is of the size of something like that. Now, you could say that maybe this is just poorly optimized by Nintendo, but I feel like 2.2 gigs, that's something different. I don't think that has anything to do with streaming. And so really, with all of this information, with an NDA, a limited sign-up window, and now we know the file size of this being 2.2 gigs, I'm kind of back to square one with this. I don't really know what this could be. I thought maybe it's, you know, a Call of Duty sort of related thing, because, you know, Call of Duty supposedly coming to Switch Online, but why would Nintendo be handling that? That doesn't really make much sense. Obviously, that's a bit more of an intensive first-person shooter game, but there's been other first-person shooters on the Switch that didn't have anything like this. As far as a open trial is concerned of a game, once again, I think back to how Nintendo has handled these things previously, and there wasn't all of this secrecy and stuff like this. So I kind of go back to what I said in my previous video about, I think this is going to be something that like nobody's thinking about. Because really, give me some options of what this could be. Because I feel like most people who have been talking about this, most people who have been thinking about this, we're looking at it from a streaming perspective. That seems like the next logical thing for Nintendo to do with their systems, because they are the only, you know, hardware manufacturer out on the marketplace right now that doesn't have any sort of online streaming portion of their game distribution services. But when the client itself is so big, or I shouldn't say client, I should say whatever this file is 2.2 gigs, that doesn't sound like a streaming thing. This sounds more like some sort of weird feature. I don't know. Maybe it's a Miiverse thing. Maybe it's a community aspect thing. Obviously, with the removal of Twitter integration, now known as X, you know, there's not really a way for people to post their screenshots and have their own little communities through the Nintendo Switch itself. Maybe it's Discord. You know, Discord's not that big of a file size, but I guess with all of the branches attached to it, it could be something like that. I don't know. I like I said, I'm keeping my expectations low with this, and we're going to find out what it is next Tuesday when people are starting to be accepted in the program, because I'm sure they're going to give additional information as to, you know, what it is and what you'll need to do with it. And not everyone is going to abide by the NDA, because you're not dealing with just industry people here. You're not dealing with journalists and just YouTubers. Yes, there will be a vast majority of them, because little Johnny, he probably hates video games now. He was so excited to get into this open test, but no, he was doing his studies at school. So Nintendo's essentially teaching children, don't go to school. If you want to check out our new cool stuff, don't go to school. Ridiculous, Nintendo. Think of the message you're putting out there for the youth of the world. Anyways, guys, I don't know what the hell this is. I really don't. And, you know, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed with whatever it is, because I'm sure it's not anything really that exciting. But then again, maybe it is. So give me your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think that Nintendo has up their sleeve with this? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like I said at the start, don't buy an Alarmo, buy the Art of N64 Wrestling Games book. It's a much better investment on your end, because I could foresee Alarmo in bargain bins very soon. And then maybe I'll buy one for like 25 bucks and just like throw it at the wall when it tries to wake me up, because I don't play around. I don't play around with that. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Go check out the metaphor video from earlier. Later.